The SUV's broadcast of the Hawks-Naismith Classic is brought to you by Serious Sports Medicine for serious athletes, Children's Healthcare of Atlanta Sports Medicine, Kenneth S. Nugent PC, Attorneys at Law, CBA Sports, Sports Construction Specialists, StatRow, Youth Sports Highlights Whenever, Wherever, and the Atlanta Tip-Off Club.
Welcome to the inaugural Hawks-Naismith Holiday Classic pregame show. The two girls' games are in the book. Now we're on to the guys' games. First one, 6 p.m. It's Shiloh versus Buford. I'm Ned Cage alongside Sly Williams and David Dickerson. Sly, you've seen Shiloh a couple times this year. What do you think we're going to see out of this Shiloh team coming into the game at 3-4 on the season?
What we're going to see out of Shiloh, we're going to see a lot of Elias King. I like this young guy, class of 2019. He just transferred back home. He's playing at Shiloh. He was at Huntington Prep last year in West Virginia. I guess the cold weather got too much for the young man, and he decided there's no place like home. So he came back home, and he is not disappointed in his brief time back home. You're going to see a lot of Elias King and another guy I like. It's a youngster out there, a sophomore, Tenori Lane, and I'm hoping I'm pronouncing his name right. Tenori Lane. He's a bruiser on the inside. They have him listed at 6'5". He's 200 pounds, give or take a few Big Macs. You know, he's somewhere close around that 200-pound range. But he works hard on the inside. He's an athletic kid, but he likes to throw that body weight around. So that's what you're going to see out of Shiloh tonight.
And David, Shiloh, you've seen them play a little bit. Buford, another team coming in. They returned 4 starters from a team that won the state championship last year at 29-2, 5-2 this year. What do you think that the Wolves are going to do to match up against this Shiloh team?
Well, it's going to be. It should be a good game. Of course, Buford used to winning, and has had a pretty good start this year. Of course, their key is Marcus Watson. Everybody knows Marcus had a chance to work with the kid. He is just amazing, a fantastic athlete, one of those floor-to-floor, both ends of the floor kind of kids. Once he gets going, very difficult to stop him. It's going to be a test. It's going to be a real test for Shiloh, I think, because with Shiloh, slow start this year. At 3-5, had a chance to talk to Coach Kim Rivers. They're a team in transition. They have a total of 11 transfers and JV players. And so sometimes that takes a little while to get that going. But as he mentioned, he talked a little bit about Tenari. Tenari is coming along a beast. They're also missing Shamari McLeod with the knee injury. And he's a difference maker for them. 6'5" kid, can do a little bit of everything. So it should be fun.
And now, we mentioned some of these key players, but looking at some of our key players, brought to you by Kenneth S. Nugent, PC, Attorneys at Law, one call, that's all. And not only is Kenneth Nugent supporting our key players, but he's donating $1 for every point that's scored this weekend. So he's a big-time sponsor. Definitely want to give him some love. But you talked about Elias King, 4-star, coming in with 16 offers. I mean, from all over, UGA, Auburn, Clemson, Mississippi State. And then Tenori Lane, he's younger guy, just sophomore, but with an offer from Auburn already. And those two guys, they work together very well. As you mentioned, key players. David, you mentioned it, Marcus Watson coming in last year, averaging 18.6 points per game, 9 rebounds, 13 offers, Georgia, Florida, Iowa. These are some really good players. And someone to keep an eye on, key player we didn't mention too much was Alex Jones, the point guard for Buford. Almost 7 assists last year, led Gwinnett County.
Yeah. Yeah, Alex, I really like Alex. Young Alex, he didn't play when we first covered on the SUV TV network in Holiday Hoops Given. He didn't play. I think he had an ankle injury or maybe it was a wrist. I'm not quite sure what was hurt, but the young man didn't play. But we saw him against Cedar Shows on the SUV TV game of the week, Tuesday night game of the week. We saw him against Cedar Shows. Now, he's the floor general that the Buford Wolves need. The guy, he had great control of the game. He managed to Watson's your workhorse.
Mm-hmm.
Make no mistake about it. Watson is your workhorse, but you need somebody to distribute that ball to Watson, and also David Beatty.
Right. Yep.
David Beatty signed to go to Georgia Southern. He's going to be an Eagle. The young man, he's going to be an Eagle. But Alex Jones did such a great job of being that floor general and getting the ball to Beatty, getting the ball to Watson. Alex Jones, he's going to be a key component to this game right now.
Right, and the reason why I like VD is because it gives him an opportunity to spread the floor.
Yes.
And the one thing that kid can do is he can shoot the 3-ball.
Yes.
Probably, maybe he's the X factor in this game because we really don't know what Shiloh is going to do. Shiloh has a lot of talent. Just don't know how they're gonna blend and gel. Should be a fun one though. I'm looking forward to this.
And we're about 5 minutes away from tip-off. We're going to head to a quick break, but we'll be back with the keys to the game before this one gets underway.
Introducing Children's Healthcare of Atlanta Sports Motion Analysis, powered by Dartfish, giving parents and young athletes frame-by-frame feedback on how to minimize injury and maximize performance. Upload your videos, visit our clinic, or let our specialists come to you. No matter the sport you play, Children's helps young athletes take their game to the next level.
And we're back here at the inaugural Hawks-Naismith Holiday Classic tip-off. And we're here for a little pregame show, and we're back here, and we want to talk about keys to the game. What's going to be the key to the game? And one thing we just talked about during that break is stopping the known, stopping the superstars, whether it's Elias King for Shiloh or Marcus Watson for Buford. Got to stop the #1 scorers.
Well, absolutely. In particular, Marcus is a bull that kind of has his way, finds a spot. If he finds a spot and he gets that spot on the floor before you do, you're in trouble. Reminds me a lot of the way Markel Fultz approached the game as a high school player. Now, the difference will be on the other side when you're looking at Elias King as their key player. That Elias is a little bit more on the smooth side. He's a little less in the way of a contact player, very athletic. Maybe those are keys from a coaching perspective. Be a little physical on one end, and then maybe on the other end back off a little bit.
Exactly, and like they say, a tale of two cities, or now we have a tale of two scorers. Both those guys can put the ball in the basket, and they can put the ball in the basket a lot. But like you said, they do it two different ways. I love, I'm an ex-football guy. So I love a basketball player who has that football mentality. And that's one thing Marcus Watson has. He has that I'll lower my shoulder and I'll go to the lane and I'll dunk on you. I'll be aggressive. I'll be strong. One thing about dunking and being explosive, there are hundreds of guys out there who can dunk the ball.
Correct.
A lot of people can. I used to could dunk. I still can. I probably still can. We'll set up the rim.
I was going to say, we got a hoop right here. We'll find out.
I'll check it out. But it's the mentality to say, I'm going to go out there and I'm going to do it on somebody. And that's what separates the good from the great. And that's the one thing about Marcus Watson. He has that mentality that I'm going to go out there and I'm going to dunk on you. And now, like you said, on the other side of that coin, you have somebody who's smooth. Now, Elias King is the definition of smooth. It doesn't get much smoother than this young guy, man. He's a junior, but he can score inside. He can shoot the jumper. He can score outside. He has a nice handle. He can dribble around you. I honestly thought when I first saw him, I thought he was a younger version of myself. I thought he was a younger version, a little bit skinnier than me. But this guy is smooth, and that's why I say, a tale of two cities or a tale of two scorers.
Right. Well, a lot skinnier than you. But no, where where it really will come out is really when you get down to the fourth quarter.
Yep.
Because sometimes if the game is a little physical, you also have to measure how the referees are calling it early. Is that being consistent?
Yep.
So that'll make the difference for them. But I'm looking forward to seeing Shiloh actually play a little bit better because the talent is there. They just haven't put it all together. A couple key losses. They had an overtime loss against Heritage Christian. They lost to St. Francis. They lost to Sandy Creek. They probably could have beat Archer, and that was a loss for them. So it may be a
sorry, go ahead.
where tonight is where they turn it around.
And they got starting lineups being called behind us about to get this game underway, but we want to put you guys to the real test. Let's get some predictions. Sly, who you got here?
I got to go with Buford. It'll be a close one, but I can tell you one thing. Ken Nugent needs to get his wallet ready because there's going to be some points on that scoreboard.
David, who we got?
Well, I'm going to go the other way. I'm going to go with Shiloh, not because I don't think that Buford is good, but maybe this is Shiloh's night to turn it around.
And I'll break the tie. I'll go with Buford. They know how to win. They're going to get it done once again tonight.
All right.
Now we'll send you guys over to Joel Hillsman, and you can take this game in for yourselves.
Thank you very much, Ned. This is the inaugural Hawks-Naismith Classic, the holiday classic. Joel Hillsman alongside Barry Browner in the perch here at the House of Blue. Norcross, Georgia is the scene. It is Buford. It is Shiloh. Brother Barry, what you think we're going to see tonight?
I think we're going to get to see some good basketball. I'm expecting a lot out of Shiloh, to be honest with you. I had a chance to kind of check Shiloh out. They've had a couple of losses. But they had a big win over Miller Grove. So also had a tough loss against Archer. Coming in 3-5, missing McLeod. Like I said, that's going to be key for them. But this Buford team is pretty tough, though.
All right, so we get ready for the tip-off, and the starting lineup first for the Buford Wolves will be David Veedy, Alex Jones, Marcus Watson, Donnell Nixon, and Jonathan Miles. For Shiloh, it will be Eric Kinlock, Taneri Lane, Elias King, Nate Reed, and Kendall Lewis. Buford will be all in white tops, white bottoms. They've got green numbers at gold trim. Shiloh, all in black tops, black bottoms, white numbers with a little gray tint, and they've got the Jordan brand jerseys. Watson and Reed, and we are underway. Donnell Nixon will take it and hand it off now to Alex Jones. Jones on the cross. He's picked up there by Kinlock. The guard spot, as we saw, Barry, this year, has been a problem for Shiloh.
Right. They've struggled to kind of score a little bit and find a little stability. But like I said, anytime you got guys like Lane and you got a guy like King who's a four-star guy, like I said, they should be able to steady the ship.
Watson was unable to score. Here's Elias King back on the right wing. He spins it back out. Buford coming out in a pseudo 2-3 zone. Goes high low, down low, and they spin it back to King. On right side, three. Good. Elias King.
And that's what he's got to do to get going, Joe. Definitely he's got to start off like that. And like I said, Kim Rivers is going to come with this press that they usually run at Shiloh.
Here's Veedy. Veedy kicks it over to the right side. Nixon catch fire. A long three. Good. Donnell Nixon. A deep three ball. That's what he does. He brought it over from Mountain View last season.
You know, Joel, I think that's so important, Joel. When you have that second guy or that third guy who can step up, you know who your stars are, but you need that other guy.
Elias King with the jumper. Slide jumped in, didn't even know where he came from.
And that's big for Shiloh to get going. And they're playing that 1-2-2.
So now Veedy going to tip it, and the pass was deflected. And the ref's going to get together and talk about it, and it will stay with the Buford Wolves.
One of the things about the Shiloh team is these guys are very long and athletic. And like I said, that could pose a problem for Buford because I don't know if they've seen a team this long and athletic other than Willow.
Nixon will inbound it back to Alex Jones, the quarterback of this Buford Wolves team. A minute and a half gone by, 5-3. Shiloh with the lead. All five have came from Elias King. Kinlock picking up Jones. Jones trying to break the count continuously, but Kinlock moving his feet. Gets a screen from Veedy. In the corner now to Nixon. Nixon going to work on with a shaky dribble on Reed. Now bring it back out. So Shiloh now, right now at the start, playing with a little pep in their step. Here's a drive. Jones kicks it off to the left. The Miles back out. David Vitti, 3-ball. David Vitti, a left wing 3.
And that's why he's going to Georgia Southern. Coach Mark Bonnington is getting a player.
And he normally will knock them down from the corner, but those wings are tough. Tenary Lane, jumper. It is short. No. Rebound. Plow it up. Lost it. Kendall Lewis put it on the floor, and there's a steal. Here comes Nixon back this way. Feeds it to Vitti. Vitti catch, hesitates, split the double team, lost his footing. King comes away with it. Elias up ahead to Lewis. Here comes Lewis. Lewis kip it at too far. Turnover for Reed.
Too much passing on that. Too much passing. They can finish that.
It comes a time where sometimes you got to be greedy. You can't, like you said, it's too much passing. Sometimes you have to take that and force that layup. Get that layup in there. Make that defender commit to you. Get you the easy two.
Nixon will hand it over to Alex Jones, and Jones continues to walk it up very slow.
Guys, Shiloh's coming out in a lot of zone. Looks like a lot of zone they're playing. 1-2-2. They were playing the 1-2-2 at the half, too.
Eddie Martin, the head coach of the Buford Wolves. His third season, they are the defending 5A state champs. It is the boys' first basketball state championship in school history. Donnell Nixon traveled, and the possession will go over to Shiloh, who is struggling to say the least. 3-5 under the head coach of Kim Rivers. The talent is there, no question about it. Kinlock with the left-hand dribble spins it to King. King now brings it back out to the top, and they'll work it around to Reed. Reed to Kinlock in the middle. There's Tenary Lane. Turn, foul line jump. No. Rebound hit the floor. Miles comes away with it. We've seen the interchanging of Miles and Brandon Green in the starting lineup the last couple of games for the Buford Wolves. Jones, catch, fire, a 3, kaboom.
And I think both guys can come off and give you a little energy off the bench, so it's interchangeable either way. But you cannot let Alex Jones get going. He's definitely the key to this Buford squad.
King 3, no good, and David Vitti is going to get hit with a loose ball foul underneath, and that'll be his first.
And going back to Jones, like I said, I think you and I talked about this. We talked about this, that had Jones been at the Wheeler game, could have been a different result.
Would have been a different result. Maybe they still lose, but just how it was. There's a 3-ball. Kinlock, good. He splashed the nets. For the left wing, Eric Kinlock, and we talked about it, Barry, out of the guard spot. What production would they see? That's a good start. Watson splits and scoops and scores.
That's a good move by Watson. Good tough move. And like I said, one of the things about Watson, what he's done since Jones has come back, he's not floated out on the wing. What he's done is he went to the post. He's worked the short corners, just kind of getting his game back a little bit.
And that makes so much sense what you said, because when Jones wasn't there, he was forced to play out on the wing. But his game is inside. His game is that power dribble on the inside, lowering his shoulder, going to the basket.
Elias King catch scoring right there in the middle of the zone, and now Shiloh has an 11 to they trail 11-10, but Buford quickly calls the timeout. Elias King with that jump right there in the middle.
And if I'm Eddie Martin at this point, what I'm looking at this. They're playing a 2-3 zone. The middle is wide open. All they're doing is going to the middle, sitting the guy in the middle, and it's King who can hit that short, that free throw line jump shot.
Stat Row showcases youth sport highlights and gives a portion of its revenue back to teams. Visit statrow.com today to learn how your team can partner with Stat Row. Joe Hilsman, Barry Browner, and then slipping in the back door, Sylvester Williams. Glad that you're with us. In the perch here at the House of Blue, David Vitti will be inbounding it, looking, and he gives it over to Donnell Nixon. So it is Vitti, Nixon, Jones, Miles, and Watson, the 5 that remain on the floor as we come up on the 4-minute mark for the Buford Wolves. It'll be Reed, Lewis, King, Lane, and Kinlock on the floor for the Generals, and Kinlock gets the steal. Kinlock now pushing it up ahead to Lane. Lane stopped back to Kinlock. It was there for King. It wasn't there. Now they go to Lane. Lane to King. King catch, fire, a 3, front iron, no, tip, rebound offensively. Lane up and in to Tenary Lane.
Good putback. Lane's he's always in the right place to get a quick rebound and a putback.
Lane, and he's a sophomore coming over and trying to develop and find his way, coming over from Parkview. Here's Donnell Nixon now. Nixon now will hand it over the right side to Vitti. Vitti back to Watson. Watson spins it to Jones. Jones holding it 3:30. Alley caught it, threw it off, out of bounds. Had the gold shoes on, didn't help. A turnover for Buford.
And
But, you know, that was a great job of court awareness by the Shiloh defense right there. They saw that alley coming, and what they did, instead of putting any hands on Watson, they kind of eased his body. So when he jumped and tried to catch that alley, he was out of bounds. That was a great job of court awareness by the Shiloh defense.
Lane underneath, no. Rebound comes down to Vitti. Vitti now loses it up ahead. Here comes Jones. Jones gets in the middle. Jones turns on the speed. Jones left hand layup, count it, and the foul. It's a score and one more for Alex Jones.
Nice finish by Jones. He's a one-man fast break. But I can tell y'all something, what I'm looking at. Buford is struggling with this length, man. They're having a hard time with this length.
And that's a good point, especially going back to the Wheeler contest, because Wheeler, they had a lot of wing length, but their major length was E.J. Montgomery.
On the inside.
Yes, Jones completes the three-point play. He has 6 points in the contest, 14-12. Buford still has the lead. Here's Elias King now for Shiloh. The Generals operating in the black, in the middle of the lane, being patient. And Sly, we saw this Shiloh team against Miller Grove. They were not this patient earlier on in the season.
You know, it's learning lessons. You know, you play that first game of the year, you're still trying to figure yourself out.
Lane layup good.
You know, we were saying earlier on the broadcast that Shiloh had between 11 transfers or JV
Deep
players.
Three, no good. Vitti, oh, Miles fell after he got the board. Watson shoots it down low to Vitti, up off the window, scoring.
Finished by David Vitti.
Did you see the pass, though? Slides the football guy, Marcus Watson, threw a bullet.
I'm telling you.
One hand. In the middle, the King, catch shot, short, follow, Lewis, no, fight for it. Jump ball call, let's see. No, a travel call on Kendall Lewis.
So what's the trend you guys are seeing? What I'm seeing is, like I said, that high post action.
Mm-hmm.
That high post action. Buford's having trouble trying to figure it out for some reason.
And as soon as Lane is able to hit that turnaround where he can turn face the basket and hit that free throw line jumper, that's going to cause problems.
Beautiful Jones, no Watson on a baseline jam.
Bang, bang.
It's a total lack of respect for Cordova Lane right there.
And Coach Kim Rivers is upset. I don't know why, but Alex Jones dimed it off as we take a look at our SUV TV instant replay. Sit on the rim, Watson. Man, they was in here, Barry. You and I were in here last night, and they were cleaning the backboard and Windexing it and got the new nets, and Watson just no respect for the rim right there.
Yeah, he just tried to rip the rim down.
Glad that you're with us. The inaugural Hawks-Naismith Classic here in Norcross, Georgia, Norcross High School. And an interesting factor, Eddie Martin, the head coach of Buford, has returned to the House of Blue. Now, it's a little different, but he kind of built this thing. He was the first of those 5 championships.
Well, you know, he did. Eddie Martin built it, and like I said, and then passed it off, gave a handoff to Jesse McMillan. Like I said, Jesse kept the ball rolling for Norcross. As a matter of fact, this is Coach Martin's first game back coaching in this building.
Since he left, yep.
So this is pretty awesome, I'm sure, for Coach Martin as well.
It was interesting to see him stand in the tunnel and talk to him before the game. Here comes Nixon. Nixon going to drive all the way, floated up with the left hand, no.
But if you guys notice on that last possession down there, Tenori Lane caught it right at the free throw line, and he was looking to pass as soon as he caught the ball. See, right there, he's a young sophomore. As he gets a little bit older and a little bit wiser, he's going to turn and face the basket and make a defender commit, make a defender do something, make a defender respect that little 10-foot jumper of his.
There's a discussion going on, not sure. Foul is going to be on
number 0, Justin
Spencer. So he had checked into the contest. My apologies, I missed that. Foul on Justin Spencer, his first.
Technical fouls on Shiloh, number 15, Nate Reed.
And Nate Reed has picked up a
Number 14, Marcus Watson.
personal foul with a technical foul, and Marcus Watson has picked up a foul with a technical foul. So double technicals, and remember those go as a personal foul. Eddie Martin is not pleased with that. He just turned red. And so he's saying, okay, turning around because that's Watson's first foul. So substitutions now. Here comes Brandon Green into the contest for the Buford Wolves, along with Ashton Young. Watson will come take a seat and goes right to Martin. Miles also will take a seat. So there are your first substitutions for the Buford Wolves. Donnell Nixon at the free throw line connects on the first one. He has one more coming. No good. Here's Shiloh with 90 seconds to go in this first quarter, trailing by 5, although they've played very well. Here's Lewis on the left wing to Kinlock. Kinlock spins it in the corner. A long 3-ball by Truett Spencer. No good. Rebound is Alex Jones out of the guard spot. Here he comes with the Jets. Pulling with the left hand dribble with 75 seconds. Goes behind the back and nothing there. Now here's the length you want to talk about with Lewis on Jones.
Right. And that's the thing. Like I said, Shiloh cannot afford to take bad. That was a bad shot. They can't afford to take shots like that with a guy like Jones pushing the rock.
Veedy counted and the foul, a 3 in the corner. David Veedy. He's got an opportunity for a 4-point play. V-I-T-I. David Veedy.
With the 3-bagger.
Number 20, Kendall Lewis.
Ooh, look at the replay right there.
Veedy at the line shooting 1 shot.
Veedy kind of stolen one. You know, he stuck. That's what I like to call one of those pro moves right there from Veedy. He stuck that leg out there and picked up that foul so he can make it a 4-point play.
62 seconds.
And you know, and that's the thing that Coach Rivers got to know. You can't help out on Veedy at all, pretty much. Like I said, if he catches it and he shoots, he squares, it's over with.
In and out, no good. He's going to get another opportunity, though, on the lane violation. So now not only do you foul the 3-point shooter on the 3-point shot, he makes the 3, misses the free throw, but will get another opportunity for a 4-point play.
What's interesting, fellas, is that I just saw Shamari McLeod check back in the game. Like I said, let's see how he plays. Looks like he's coming off the knee injury, so we'll see how he plays and see what he gives Shiloh right here.
The 4-point play by Veedy, V-I-T-I. Shamar McClain is in, 23 in black, holding the ball now between the rings. Spins it to Kinlock with 44 seconds. Kinlock directing traffic, looking at a 2-3 zone defense. McLeod caught it in that corner, nothing there. If you notice, King is getting his blow right now, also while Watson is off the floor as well. Patience being exuded right now, 25 seconds though. Jones almost got the steal. He falls back into it on that top side. Nothing going to the basket at the moment. And now Coach Kim Rivers says back it all the way back out. They didn't want to eat all of this clock, but they kind of had no choice.
And that's good defense. That's just good defense by Buford.
Final 5 seconds. Here's McLeod. Somebody's going to have to shoot it now. Kinlock, a long left wing 3. No. Veedy, no. End of the quarter. The Buford Wolves hang up 23 in this first quarter. Shiloh, 14. Timeout. These words right here across the network.
I just love being a leader.
Because I like to punish people.
I think the big thing is just taking the right shot.
Just to embarrass people.
I'm a beast. Do my thing whenever I'm putting on someone's neck.
My dogs will be the best in 4 years.
Introducing Children's Healthcare of Atlanta Sports Motion Analysis, powered by Dartfish, giving parents and young athletes frame-by-frame feedback on how to minimize injury and maximize performance. Upload your videos, visit our clinic, or let our specialists come to you. No matter the sport you play, Children's helps young athletes take their game to the next level.
Joel Hilsman, Barry Browner, Sylvester Williams back here with you from the House of Blue. Buford and Cedar Shoals, Buford and Shiloh. Look at me.
Cedar Shoals, never mind. I'm going to leave that alone. We'll coach it.
You're watching the inaugural Hawks-Naismith Holiday Classic on SUV TV. Shiloh in black, they're in possession. Trailing by 9, although they played pretty well there in that first quarter. Zone at the end gave him trouble. McLeod off the bench into the scorebook. A big jumper, a confidence builder for Shamari McLeod.
And they're going to need that from McLeod, no doubt about it. Like I said, a healthy McLeod is a good thing for Shiloh. So let's see if that shot gets him going.
Both of these teams play in Region 8, but one is in 5A and one is in 7A. High-low pass, Watson not there. Young gets the rebound offensively for Buford, who's in white. Backdoor cut to Brandon Green. Green now over to Bobby Miller. Miller into the contest with a right-hand dribble. He'll peel it back out between the rings now. And the passing lane was shot by Kinlock and almost a turnover.
And Shiloh, notice that they're switching their zones. They're going high 2-3. They're sitting back. They're playing the 1-2-2. They're just trying to give Buford a couple of different looks.
Young, Jones, Watson, Green, and Miller, the 5 on the floor for the Buford Wolves. The uniform police is out. Reed, McLeod, King, Kinlock, and Francois into the ball game. Edward Francois. So here's Jones. Jones splits the double team, dumps it off to Young, scoring. Another dime drop. Ashton Young scores from Alex Jones.
And that's what you can't give Jones. Like I said, he draws so much attention that he draws guys to him and makes it easier for the dump off.
He's going to Lipscomb. Does that bother you a little bit for what you've seen of his talent?
You know what? I think Lipscomb got a steal. I think that people should have been on Alex Jones. I think that the guy's a mid-major guy.
Okay.
You know, I think he falls under one of those things. What if he was 3 or 4 inches taller? That's that category he kind of falls under. And he's going to go to Lipscomb, and he's going to thrive for 4 years at Lipscomb.
Young inbounds it to Jones, and Jones will walk it up.
Back on Jones. Jones reminds me of, I don't know if y'all remember a guard from Lithonia named Rodney Chapman, who's at UTC right now, that's tearing it up.
That's a great comparison. Watson, offensive rebound and put back. Marcus Watson, his 6th point of the day.
And I like Marcus Watson, man. He uses his body, uses his size, and like I said, just in the paint, he's a load.
Long lead pass. Watson, oh! Boom it home, Marcus Watson. The hammer, the right-hand hammer. You saw it coming, too. Here's Lane. Lane kicks it out. Kinlock, a left wing 3. Good.
Good shot by Kinlock. And they need that. They need some stops, though. They need to get a couple of stops. Like I said, they can't just keep trading buckets with this Buford squad.
Tied up the net down here. I like it. The refs are letting them play. With the net tied up, he stripped the nets. Step back. Watson, a 3-ball. No. McLeod gets the rebound. Jones just took it away from him. And so McLeod blocked it out of there. Rebound. Green, up, off. No, Watson tried to dunk it home again. Watson underneath. Marcus Watson on the glass.
Manning. You call that Manning. That's what I call it.
Yeah, that's just been a grown man out there, man playing with boys out there.
That was just too easy. Like I said, I can look at Kim Rivers right now and tell he's just kind of frustrated.
I mean, you can't. Put a body on him, man.
Exactly.
A lot easier said than done.
Understood. 29-19, 5:27 to go, second quarter. Game number 3 on the first day. Free throw in and out, no good, Watson.
Checking in for Shiloh, Kendall Lewis.
Lewis will check in now for Shiloh. So it'll be King, Reed, Lane, Lewis, and Kinlock. And if you're Shamari McLeod, you got to be pleased with those 3 or 4 minutes you just got.
Right, exactly. And like I said, I'm sure that gives him something to kind of build on. And Coach Rivers just wanted to test him to see kind of where he was. Another lane violation for Shiloh. That's 2.
That's just a lack of discipline right there. That's all that is.
And you just can't. And playing a team like Buford, man, they're methodical. And you cannot give them extra opportunities when they miss free throws or make plays like that. You can't do that.
They are going to make you pay. But Watson sitting up there can't buy a free throw. And they get hit with a foul now on Reed. Whistles have begun to blow, and they are not in the favor of the Shiloh Generals. Did they call another lane violation?
Another lane violation.
Another lane violation. 2 in one trip, 3 in the game.
See, that's an unforced turnover. That's, you know what I'm saying? That's an unforced turnover.
And now the young man that they call the lane violation, though, he did not move at all on that free throw.
And now the uniform police. So this crew is not letting you do anything today, Shiloh. Darius Green had to go sit down. I don't know why. They were talking about his shorts, and his shorts look like everybody else's shorts for Shiloh. They're black. Now they're over there working on them on the sideline. 5:19 to go. That just throws off your substitution pattern, too.
Yep.
Here's Lane. Lane to Kinlock. Kinlock spins it. Jones almost got a steal. Elias King peels it back. King now back over to Kinlock.
And
Lewis, good ball movement.
Buford's
Reed,
in that
corner, 3, no.
What Buford's doing, they're in that 2-3, and then what they're doing, they're trapping the wings. All they're doing is trapping the wings. So they're using the sideline as another defender as well.
And see, one thing, if I'm Shiloh, I want to get King moving. Let's set some picks on that zone. Set some back picks or side picks so King can roll off of those picks and roll that baseline so he can come open with an open shot. He's kind of stagnant a little bit, standing over there on that wing and just getting trapped in the corner.
Lewis' first free throw is good. Lewis, his first point of the contest. Second free throw is good.
Lewis is another long wing junior that I'm sure to come region play, Coach Rivers is going to be looking for to do some big things in that tough region they got.
Step back, Watson, a 3-ball. No, it went in and came back out. Lane, the young sophomore, on the glass. Kinlock into the forecourt, spins it down in the corner. Lewis, a 3-ball. Good. He bottomed it out. So a nice run now here by Shiloh with 4.5 to go. They trail by 6 now. Jones across the half-court logo with the right-hand dribble. A screen from Nixon. He peeled back out. Nixon caught it. Step back. Vitti in the middle. Vitti gonna drive. Vitti got it blocked. Here comes Shiloh back running this way with Kinlock. Kinlock gives it over to Lane. Lane Euro steps, dumps it off, and a dunk to Reed. He blew it. Just lay it up and get it.
Lay it up. Just lay it up.
Oh, that hurt.
A turnover there. Just lay the basketball.
We talk about this all the time, y'all.
Yeah.
Hey, you got to, 2 points is 2 points is 2 points.
Especially against this team, and you're trying to keep your run and momentum going. So now here is Jones and an offensive foul called on Watson on the screen. Nope, Vitti. Vitti picks up his second, I'm sorry.
And Shiloh's done a good job to battle back to only be down 6, y'all. So, like I said, now they need a bucket. They need a bucket. Kinlock's doing a good, you know what? I'm going to give Eric Kinlock a little credit. He's doing a good job. Hitting a couple of shots, making a couple of plays. Like I said, just trying his best to keep Alex Jones in check.
Kinlock, the 5'10 senior, brings it into the forecourt with the right-hand dribble. Spins it to Reed. Reed holding. Now gives it to Elias King. Jones is working on him. Spin back to Kinlock. Kinlock goes back to King. King has the height advantage, pulls the 3, and puts it in his face. A 3-ball. Elias King, his second of the day.
But you know what I loved about that? That's a superstar demanding the ball. He ran the baseline, called for the ball, got the pass, didn't work, and wanted it back, demanded it back. I love it when your star players are ready to take a game over.
Now takes it. And the pass is tipped by Kinlock. Kinlock's got the steal. They've got numbers 4-on-1. Kinlock goes. Layup scoring good. Eric Kinlock.
There's that man again, Eric Kinlock.
A 1-point game. So Jones flies back down, puts up a floater, a bad shot. Rebound comes down to Kendall Lewis. Lewis outletting it. Here's Kinlock. Kinlock quickly ahead to Reed. Reed to Lane. Lane drives. Layup good. The Generals have the lead.
Hey, way to play. And like I said, that's a little bit of Kinlock. That's a little bit of Lane. It's a little bit of Lewis. Good job. Good job by Shiloh. And like I said, now he made Buford call a timeout. Eddie Martin's got to figure out what he's going to do.
But you know what's even funny, Barry? You called it even earlier. Right after Kinlock hit that first 3, you said it was time for Shiloh to get some stops and make some defensive stands. And that's exactly what happened for Shiloh down there. They got some stops, and they started making their defense turn into offense.
Kenneth S. Nugent, PC Attorneys at Law. One call, that's all. Visit attorneyKenNugent.com. A timeout by the Buford Wolves. They now trail 31-30 Shiloh with 3:01 to go and a 17-point quarter so far for Shiloh.
That's a pretty good quarter for them. It's probably one of the best I've seen Shiloh play all season.
Yeah, because last time they were in this building, they didn't look good in a loss to Sandy Creek.
No, they didn't.
And we had the opener against Kip, and then we had the game against Miller Grove. I must say, they look a lot better now. They don't look like a 3-5 basketball team.
No, they don't. And like I said, in that region with Grayson and Newton, coming up South Gwinnett, Rockdale, and Archer, who snuck them. Like I said, this Shiloh team, man, could be dangerous come region tournament time.
Joe Hillsman, Barry Browner, Sylvester Williams here with you in the perch at the House of Blue. Glad that you're with us. You're watching the inaugural Hawks-Naismith Holiday Classic on SUV TV. Nixon, Jones, Miles, Watson, and now Karsten Miller into the contest. His first action, 22 in white for the Buford Wolves. Kenlock, Reed, Lewis, King, and Lane, the 5 on the floor for Shiloh in black. The final 2.5 to go, and they've got the lead, 31-30 Shiloh, as they control on defense with Alex Jones heading the Buford offense. Jones over to Miller. Miller to Miles. Miles holds in that left corner, then peels it back with the dribble. Pass almost was stolen. Jones, catch, fire, a 3, front iron, no. Rebound, Watson, lost it, taken away. Here comes Elias King for the Generals. Spins it up to Kenlock. Kenlock stops, one dribble, over the Lane. Lane, good job, got to catch it. It was there, the give and go was there.
He was thinking too hard. He was thinking too hard.
In the 2 losses for Buford, which was to Morgan County and the Wheeler, they were held to 54 and 65 points. And that's 59.5 points per game in losses cross court. Jones, a 3 ball, no. Rebound ripped down by Tenary Lane. Shiloh has got a little bit of pep in their step. Here comes Reed driving, no. Kenlock recovers below the foul line. Over to Lewis, a 3, no. Rebound. They let it hit the floor again. Jones comes away with it. Spins it up to Donnell Nixon. Nixon quickly down below the free throw line. Drives, double clutch shot, no good. Rebound. They fight for it on the floor. And here comes Kenlock. He's got King running with him, but King is going slow. Caught it, dribble, up, offensive foul.
Offensive foul.
He wasn't busting it back fast enough or hard enough for me.
No,
he was too lazy in transition right there.
Right. If he just would have ran the lane, he could have finished that.
I call that the Stephen Curry effect right there. That's one of those where he was just lollygagging, not necessarily lollygagging, but hanging back and hopefully get that transition 3.
One of the things you pointed out, you talked about the 2 losses. I'll say this, one of those losses was without Alex Jones. Like I said, I'm always going to go back to that, the Wheeler game. I'm not saying that they would have won it, but I think the game would have been a lot closer than what was indicated by the score.
Yeah, and the Morgan County game was close. Shots are passing, lane and steal. Here comes Alex Jones. Jones now dumps it out for Watson. They tried to do too much.
Oh, you got to finish that, Alex Jones. You got to finish. You at the basket. You at the basket. Even if you miss that, you're going to have Marcus Watson on your pickup.
Yep,
He's going to clean it up for you. He's the cleanup man. Exactly.
Here's Kenlock. Kenlock holding with 30 seconds. He checks the clock down here, 32-31, Buford at a 1-point lead. And I must say it again, through a half now, Shiloh has looked very, very good and very much improved from earlier this season. 15 seconds, Kenlock now, they begin the motion of the offense. Here comes Reed. Reed holding it, nothing to do, just still holding it. Now gives it over to Kenlock. Kenlock gets a screen from Lane in the corner. A 3 ball, Reed, no. Lewis, rebound, put it up, no. They take it away, no foul call. We're at overtime. We're at halftime. Not good, Joel Hills. All right, so Buford has a 1-point lead, 32-31. Halftime, we'll throw it to the SUV TV Game Day Live, presented by CBA Sports.
Introducing Children's Healthcare of Atlanta Sports Motion Analysis, powered by Dartfish, giving parents and young athletes frame-by-frame feedback on how to minimize injury and maximize performance. Upload your videos, visit our clinic, or let our specialists come to you. No matter the sport you play, Children's helps young athletes take their game to the next level.
Hi everybody, I'm Sam Crenshaw reminding you about the inaugural Hawks-Naismith Holiday Tip-Off Classic. It comes your way December 21st through 23rd at Norcross High School. Here's what the coaches have to say.
When you put those names in front of something that it's going to be run first class, the level of competition is going to be very good. Crowds are going to be real good over here. So it's just really exciting for us to be in it and be able to play that first night. In it right here, and so, and for me, an opportunity to come back and coach in this facility again is really special.
Welcome to the halftime show here at the inaugural Hawks-Naismith Holiday Classic. I'm Ned Case alongside Sylvester Williams and David Dickerson. And we got a tight game right now, 32-31. Buford leads. Buford dominated that first quarter, but Shiloh made a nice run during that second quarter.
And, you know, that's a testament to Coach Rivers to kind of calm his team down, get his team, because I think Buford maybe pushed that lead up to about 9, maybe 10 points at one time. But Coach Rivers calmed his team down, and I guess he told them play defense. That's one thing we talked about on the broadcast. Barry Browner brought up the fact that you have to play defense, get a few stops so your offense can work. You know, turn your defense into offense, and that's what the Generals did.
Yeah, well, Sly, you know, you talked in the pregame a little bit about A Tale of Two Cities, and you started waxing about the classics. Well, this was a classic. First quarter, second quarter, completely different games. Hot start for
Buford.
For Buford, and actually a hot start for Shiloh.
Yep.
Elias King dropped 2 threes there at the beginning. Got turned around really quickly there. I was really impressed with the energy that Kendall Lewis had.
Yep.
I also Marcus big dunk at 158 kind of changed the tide. Minute 58 in that first quarter.
Yep.
Second quarter, fought their way back into it. Got some really good point guard play from both of the guys.
Yeah.
Lane gave us was very athletic for us, and then Alex Jones did a great job for Buford.
And when you look at Buford, David, you mentioned at the beginning, you said David Vitti might be an X factor, and right now, him and Marcus Watson are tied for 9 points, leading this. What did you see from Vitti's energy? It seemed like he was kind of an emotional leader as well for this Wolves team.
Well, yeah, certainly in the first quarter.
Yeah.
Second quarter, things were a little different, and they started wearing them down a little bit. We're getting that from Shiloh, but Vitti came out of the box hot. You know, again, as well as Alex Jones, made a big difference.
And you know, one thing I like about Vitti is one of those shooters. I love a shooter, and he has a shooter's mentality, a wide open shooter's mentality. He did one of my favorite plays. As long as you're on his team, it's the greatest play in the world. He shot that 3, and when he got fouled, when he was coming down, he kind of slid that leg out just a little bit, slid the leg out, and he picked up the foul so he could get the 4-point play. That was one of those plays, if he's on your team, you love it. But if he's on the other team, he's a dirty whatever.
Yeah, well, you know, that works a little bit better at the college and the pro ranks than it does usually in a high school game. Gets ignored a lot. But no, it was actually a smart play for him.
And looking at some numbers for Shiloh, you know, Elias King, you mentioned it, had those 2 jump shots to start the game. He had 10 points in that first half, and Tenari Lane, 6 points, 3 rebounds. He did some nice stuff on the inside. One player for Shiloh I was impressed with in that first half was Eric Kinlock, the point guard. I think he had 3 assists by my count and 2 or 3 steals to go along with it.
Yeah, and a couple turnovers there at the beginning, and then he got his bearings and really did a very good job in the second half of kind of getting everybody together. Buford dropped back immediately in that zone.
Yep.
And so that gave them a look, Shiloh a look that they probably weren't ready for. And then as time wore on in that second quarter, they started making adjustments. They started sliding people through the top of the zone, and that opened things up for them.
And, speaking of that zone, what Buford is doing, they're trapping in the corner. If that ball gets to the wing, they're trapping off of that zone. And another thing they're doing, when the ball is on the wing, their top zone guys are kind of playing out, and they're not respecting Tenori Lane when he's at the free throw line. When the young sophomore, he catches the ball at the free throw line, instead of catching it and facing up to the basket and getting into your triple threat position, triple threat. You're going to pass it, you're going to shoot it, or you're going to dribble. What he's doing, he's getting it, and he's looking to kick it out. He's looking to pass it somewhere. But he has to make himself become a focus of the offense, and when he turns and faces the basket, become a threat. Go and put up a shot or two so they can now respect you. And once they start to respect you, they won't kind of crowd King so much on that wing. They'll kind of sneak down to you if they respect you. Well, if they don't respect you, no need.
Well, absolutely, and you're right, because if you remember early on, the first thing that Elias did is he tested that zone.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't come out on him. He stuck 2 threes there in their face. They started coming out on him, and when that happened, the adjustments came.
Mm-hmm.
All right, guys, so 1-point game at the half. If it was you were in that locker room, what is the one key that you would say that's going to be the difference in this game?
Well, if I'm Coach Rivers, I'm telling my team, play defense. We need to play defense. We need to do a good job of closing out on BD on the outside if he's a shooter. When Watson penetrates to the lane, have someone step up and take a charge. Because when he goes to the lane, he's a bull in the china shop. He's going to the hole. So that's when you need someone to step up and take one for the team. And anybody, stay in front of Alex Jones. Just stay in front of him. Stay close to him. That young man, just stay in front of him. And that's what I'm saying if I'm Coach Kim Rivers on the Shiloh side of the ball.
Well, what I'm going to say to Coach Rivers is that maybe a little ball pressure. They were really, really loose with the ball. There were some turnovers. There were some missed passes that Buford had. A couple missed scoring opportunities. I'd put a little pressure on them to see what they're going to do. And then on the other side, if I were Coach Martin, what I would do is maybe something a little different, maybe a little man-to-man. Let's see what the man-to-man does. That zone got them in trouble there in the second quarter. Those kids weren't afraid. They started working the zone. They started running a motion offense off of that zone, curling people up, having people come across the center of that thing. Good game. Good game.
Absolutely. Heard Coach Martin during that Shiloh run. He called a timeout telling his guys, when we run our sets, we're really good. We try to be individual players. He called out Marcus Watson for settling for a three-pointer at the top of the key. They're not as good of a team.
Exactly. And, if you want to listen to anybody, I think Coach Eddie Martin might know what he's talking about. He has a couple of rings on his fingers.
Been around a little bit. Well, and Coach Rivers, to his credit, Coach Rivers has a couple of rings. They just come from Maryland. Great coach up in Reisterstown outside of Maryland. Got a couple of 4A championships, the biggest divisions up there as well.
It should be a good one. 1-point game of the half right now. Buford leads 32-31. Second half action, you'll hear Joel Hillsman on the call.
You're watching the inaugural Hawks-Naismith Holiday Classic live from Norcross, Georgia, Norcross High School, the House of Blue. Buford and Shiloh as we begin the second half, 32-31. It is Nixon, a three falling on his backside, Barry, a three ball from Donnell Nixon.
And that's what they need to kind of get themselves going. I always talk about the first 3 minutes of the second half and how it's going to play. And like I said, getting started like that for Buford is going to be a good thing. Now Shiloh's got to do something to match that right here.
Here's Kinlock. Kinlock holds it. He spins it over now in the corner. Here's Elias King. King now brings it back to Kinlock. It is Kinlock, Reed, Lewis, Lane, and King, the 5 on the floor for the Shiloh Generals. Veedy, Jones, Nixon, Watson, and Miles. There's a long 3. Reed rattled it right on down the milk crate. Nate Reed, a 3-ball, his first field goal.
Good shot by Nate Reed, and like I said, that's a good answer back. Definitely a good answer back for Shiloh.
So now here's Watson. Watson now will hold it. Put it on the floor, drive, spinning down the lane, a beautiful move, scoop. It could not get the fall.
Finish it.
Yep.
That's a good move, though, tough move.
Here's Kinlock back to Lewis. Lewis ran the lane, layup good, Kendall Lewis.
Hey, that's a good catch by Lewis in traffic as well.
So here's Nixon. Nixon now holds it to Watson. Watson puts it on the floor with the left hand. He's worked on by Lewis now between the rings. Gets a screen from Miles. Good pass from Watson. Underneath. Give me that shot.
Hey,
Lewis on the backside with the block.
Fellas, look, Shiloh is not playing like a team that's 3-5 right now. Like I said, this team is dangerous once they can figure it out and put all the pieces together. I mean, they're long, athletic, and like I said, Kinlock's showing me something different than what he's shown me before.
Watson, a man in the post, and scores in the paint. Watson now in double figures. He had 9 in the first half, up to 11 now. Reed. I think I need to see a little more from this young man. King, a jumper right on cue. Elias King, he has 12.
You called them up, Joe.
I was ready for it. Joel Hillsman, Barry Browner, Sylvester Williams in the perch here at the House of Blue. A long 3-ball. Good!
That's 2
by the Nets. Donnell Nixon.
And that's 2 by Nixon early and often.
Yeah, but that's 3 in the game, bro. He's starting to cook now. 40-38. Here's Lane, had to pick it up off the floor. Kinlock spins it across. Reed open. Oh, right wing 3. Hill of the rim, no. Rebound comes off to Jonathan Miles. Miles gives it to Jones. 5.5 to go, third quarter. A 2-point game. Buford with the ball and the lead. Around the screen. There's Veedy. Catch, fire, a 3. Kaboom! David Veedy, his third 3.
That's one of those shots. You knew it was good as soon as it touched his hands. You knew that shot was good.
Coach Rivers calls a timeout as we take a look at our instant replay, our Hawks-Naismith Holiday Classic instant replay. David Veedy, a right wing 3. It is a full timeout. We'll take it with them right here. You're watching the inaugural Hawks-Naismith Holiday Classic on SUV TV.
The SUV's broadcast of the Hawks-Naismith Classic is brought to you by Sirius Sports Medicine for serious athletes, Children's Healthcare of Atlanta Sports Medicine, Kenneth S. Nugent, PC, Attorneys at Law, CBA Sports, Sports Construction Specialists, StatRow, Youth Sports Highlights Whenever, Wherever, and the Atlanta Tip-Off Club.
Think a boy gonna mail it in?
Joel Hillsman, Barry Browner back, along with Sylvester Williams, and we were talking during the break of how impressed we are with Shiloh, and they look a whole lot better. They're trailing by 5, but they do look a lot better. Here comes King, Kinlock, Reed, Lewis, and Lane. Lewis catches it. There's Kinlock. He wanted to pull it, did not. Being patient and executing the offense against that 2-3 zone defense. And you mentioned earlier when they were running that zone with 5 minutes to go, there's a 3 out of the corner. Lewis, good. Kendall Lewis, show the range.
Nice shot by Kendall Lewis. And like I said, another long, important piece that can shoot the basketball. He and McLeod, when he gets healthy, become very interchangeable. And if on the floor together, going to be tough.
At the end of the day, is the height and the length that much of a concern now? And if you're Buford, how long are you going to sit in that zone? Because they've shown they can shoot the 3. Watson going to drive. He peels it back out with the right hand. Watson now going to put him on skates, goes to the elbow, back to Alex Jones. Jones looks, gives it to Watson, back to the basket, turn baseline, an offensive foul.
But I think the reason why they're going to stay in that zone, Joe, to be honest, is because you just got Marcus Watson down there. I think that if they go to man, it might cause a couple of mismatches on the opposite end.
Yeah, I think that matchup favor kind of lies with the Generals because they're so much longer, and I think they're a little bit more athletic than the Buford Wolves. So that's why Coach Eddie Martin wants to stay in that zone, and he'll take the chance. Yeah, I think he'll take the chance staying in that zone, and you're just hoping that his team can close out enough to prevent some of those wide open looks at 3 points.
Jones working on the left elbow to Vitti. Vitti now to Nixon. Nixon, nice little crossover. Back to Vitti. Catch, fire, a three. No, front iron, rebound. Lewis ripped down. Miles came in and gave him a foul.
Seems like Shiloh, like I said, they're hitting the glass a lot better than they have in the past probably 8 games for them. And like I said, they're just doing a good job, and they're showing continuously using their length. I know we keep talking about it, but that's starting to become important
very much
in this game.
Turnover. Watson on the break. Watson now going to hesitate. Right-hand dribble goes all the way. Layup off the window is good. Man, he's just too big, too strong, and too fast.
You know, he was coming down the court. He didn't look to the left or the right. He knew. At half court, he knew that was his layup.
45-41, 3:20 to go. Lewis spins it over to Kinlock. Kinlock now will hold it. Now back out to the top. And working is Reed. Reed now to King and closed out quickly right there. Vitti was in his stuff. Kinlock peels it back. And on top of that, I think offensively, Shiloh has shown patience.
They have. And if you know anything about Shiloh, just having coached against that Shiloh squad, one of the things that Rivers does is he implies a lot of pressure. And like I said, they can keep the games in the 40s and the 50s and still win ball games.
Shot is no good.
Pressure defense.
Miles comes away with it. Jones lost it. Watson recovered, step back to Jones in the corner, nothing there. Nixon a three, no. Put back, no. Watson got his own board, goes back up, no good. Man, Watson is manning the glass, man.
You know who Watson reminds me of, y'all? I know y'all. He reminds me of Larry Johnson. I don't know why I draw that Larry Johnson comparison to Marcus Watson. A poor man's Larry Johnson or a rich man's Larry Johnson.
Larry Johnson. That's
Grandmama.
I'm on the UNLV Larry Johnson.
The UNLV Larry Johnson. Because that Larry Johnson could shoot jump shots. Watson can do that. He can handle the ball a little bit. He can do that. He's downhill. He can do that. And like
inbound to Watson.
And he does that.
Yeah, on cue.
And what I like about LJ comparison is both of them are just so strong. They have that basketball strength. You know that I'm just bigger than you.
And that's why I drew that comparison to Larry Johnson.
That's a good pull.
Elias King with the hoop down on this end. Ashton Young into the contest for the Wolves. There's a screen from Green. Watson, a deep three. Hill of the rim, no. Young gets the long rebound out near the foul line and pulls it back out. Spins it to Nixon. Nixon now worked on by Lane. He gives it to Watson. Watson on King. King on Watson. Now he's going to back him down. This is nice. Fading into the middle. Fade away. Got the roll.
Yeah, now that three, that's that New York Knicks Larry Johnson. That's not the Charlotte Hornet Larry Johnson right there.
49-43, 100 seconds. King got it knocked away and a foul call.
Ooh, that's touchy. I don't know. That's good defense by Nixon, though. Thought that was good defense. I don't know who got him.
This is Buford's last game before next week they'll go down to Ocala, Florida. And Vanguard High School, that's one of them high school gyms down there. It's a very nice academic school in Ocala, but Vanguard gym does not have air conditioning.
Oh, my goodness.
It does not have air conditioning. It's one of them small, tight, it's a basketball gym. Like
where the fans are sitting on top of you.
Yes. It's one of them. It's one of them where every Sunday the pickup runs are nice. And they're going to be playing in the 44th annual Kingdom of the Sun. So this will be their last game in the state of Georgia before that trip down there. King splits the free throws.
And that's going to be some good competition at Kingdom of the Sun. And like I said, and that'll continue to test Buford, which we already know about them. But like I said, being on that national stage, gives them another opportunity for people to find out just how good this Buford squad is.
And you mentioned national stage, and I talked about this when I was doing the Game Day Live hosting. Buford has upped the scheduling, girls and boys. Watson, just Watson having his way. It's a 10-point quarter already. He's got 19 in the game.
He's just so much of an effective player when he takes it and he just dominates inside the lane or does that little hesitation dribble and just goes to the hole. I love him so much more when he does that versus when he shoots that three.
Green scores on the other end after Lane scored previously. Here's Kinlock. The McLeod back in now, getting some more burn on the backdoor pass. Tip out of bounds, and we'll go over to Buford.
So at this point, if you're Buford, if you're Shiloh, what are you trying to do at this point? I'm definitely just going to try to slow the game down a little bit because, like I said, they're having a tough time stopping Watson as far as, like, doing whatever he wants to do, getting to the basket.
And I think in your point on that, that's why Kinlock is taking this seat now. And you a coach. You should know this. I watch this type stuff. Last 30, 35 seconds of the quarter plus the quarter break. That's stealing rest right there.
It is.
And Kinlock has played very well.
And they bring Spencer back in just to give him, because they're probably figuring that Buford's playing for the last right here. That's Nixon's got the ball out top.
Yep. Between the rings, left hand dribble down to Green. Green is going to drive, kick it over to Vitti. Vitti put it on the floor, turn, baseline. Vitti fading away, no. Rebound tip out of bounds. It'll stay with Buford with 0.2 of a second left. And Tanea, who's our wonderful camera girl underneath the basket now. She's been getting a lot of work today. Nixon, a three. No, did they call a foul?
Nah, I think it's time. He couldn't call a foul. Yeah, he called time. Not enough time.
Yep. No shot. All right, we are at the end of the third quarter. Buford 53, Shiloh 46. These words, the SUVTV.com.
The SUV's broadcast of the Hawks-Naismith Classic is brought to you by Serious Sports Medicine for Serious Athletes, Children's Healthcare of Atlanta Sports Medicine, Kenneth S. Nugent PC, Attorneys at Law, CBA Sports, Sports Construction Specialists, StatRow, Youth Sports Highlights Whenever, Wherever, and the Atlanta Tip-Off Club.
Welcome you back inside the House of Blue. You're watching the inaugural Hawks-Naismith Holiday Classic 17 on SUV TV. Joel Hilsman, Barry Browner, Sylvester Williams, Slider Sports Guy with us. And here is Shiloh operating now, trailing 53 to 46. McLeod to Reed. Reed got it, stops, gives it back to McLeod. McLeod now picks it up in the corner and gives it to Lane. 30 seconds gone by.
Shiloh's just got to play possession basketball right here. Just get it back one bucket at a time.
Mm-hmm.
A bucket, stop, bucket, stop.
Three ball. No.
Reed for two.
It's a two for Reed. Foot was on the line. His 5th point.
And now they've got to get a stop right here. Kinlock's got to lock in and get and take the ball out of Alex Jones' hands.
Jones around the green screen to Vitti. Vitti now feeds it to Watson. Watson has had one heck of a ball game. 19 fading away. No. Ashton Young tried to get the tip, and he's going to get hit with the foul. So the foul will be on Ashton Young. Young, 6'1", and a junior.
You know, I think that was the first time all night when Watson has got the ball on the wing and he attacked the basket, somebody from the weak side actually stepped up and cut off his his approach to the basket, and that's what they're going to need. Somebody has to step up and cut off that attack to the basket, or step up and take a charge from Watson, because Watson has been just a man going straight to the hole, and no one has had anything to say about it.
19 points. He had 10 of them in that third quarter, did Marcus Watson. In the corner, Kendall Lewis, a three. Front iron, no. Watson skies for the rebound. Long lead pass up to Brandon Green. Green can't curtail it. Off of his fingers and out of bounds. It'll come back to Shiloh.
Shiloh's got to take advantage of a turnover, and like I said, Eddie Martin's just kind of confused at this point. He doesn't understand why you make that pass. I know they were trying to make a play, but
TJ Stargell, who will be coming up in our nightcap game, is now at Miller Grove. He was the point guard of this Shiloh General team, and we mentioned it. There's a foul. Let's see, no shot. Let's see. Timeout. Timeout is called by Shiloh. I'll finish that point on the other side. This timeout right here, the SUVTV.com.
see,
back inside the House of Blue, you're watching the inaugural Hawks-Naismith Classic, Holiday Classic 17. Guy, you're watching the inaugural Hawks-Naismith Holiday Classic 17. Yes, I saw the uniform police again.
Is that his only job?
so it looks like it, right?
I know, right? And we was at the scorers table together. I was being nice and pleasant with him, and I guess, I don't know. All right, here's McLeod. He gives it over to Truett Spencer, who's into the contest. Elias King now has it, lost it, corralled it. Now back to McLeod. Catch, fire, a three. Shamari, hill of the rim, no. Rebound hit the floor. David Vitti has it. Here comes Vitti in transition. Skips it across, pass was deflected and out of bounds.
Joel, I'm going to be honest. I'm still kind of bothered about the uniform referee.
I mean, that's the fourth or fifth time today.
And it's not like he pulled out young Watson, told Watson to get out of the game because his jersey wasn't tucked all the way in. It was tucked in, but it wasn't tucked all the way in.
That's why I'm glad Buford and the Nike Thread still have the long shorts. You know, the shorts are slowly coming back. You see McEachern and them shorts. They're not John Stockton yet, but they're coming.
That's the next wave.
Well, I'm still keeping mine to the knee. I'm sorry.
Thank you, Fab Five.
Oh, Lord, I think I was doing it before then, to be honest. I don't remember shorts. I just don't. Maybe I was a kid and growing up too fast. I don't know.
Yeah, I remember.
All of your shorts are short, though. We know, right?
Well, I have beautiful legs. It's my job. It's my job to entertain the women folk at the arena.
Eric Kinlock picks up a foul, trying to be over aggressive. 53-48 with 5:04 left, and like I said, Buford kind of been struggling. Like neither team's really been scoring in like the last minute and a half. So Shiloh's got to find a way to take advantage.
Yeah, there's only 2 points been scored, and that came on the Nate Reed jumper here in the fourth quarter. Inside, Young off the window scores.
That was just a breakdown on the defensive end for Shiloh.
Ashton Young now with the hoop, get it into Lewis. Lewis underneath, lanes in the paint. He act like he was indecisive about what he wanted to do and score.
I don't think he realized that he was that close or he was that open.
Something. He almost wound up with a 3-second. 55-50. There's a drive, and Jones reaches for his knee. Alex Jones reached for that right knee.
Aaron Kinlock. In for Shiloh, number 15.
He's going to get up and try to walk it off.
In for Buford, number 14.
And that's on the right knee. He has a limp to him now. And now Jones says he's got to come out. And Jones walks all the way to the end of the bench. Jones goes down in the tunnel. He's in pain. And now goes down in the tunnel. They need a fifth, though. And here comes Bobby Miller off of the bench. Remember the name Bobby Miller. I think this young man is going to, he's battled a million injuries and just has not been able to consistently stay on the floor. But if he gets healthy and can stay on the floor, he's going to be viable for this team next year as a senior at 6'1".
So look at the time at 4:24. You notice that Alex Jones goes out. Let's see how that affects what happens with Buford at this point. Donnell Nixon's going to have to step up and take Jones' place, though.
Here's Nixon. Yeah, at the point guard spot. And now a timeout called by Martin, and we've seen the effect just in that possession because they are not fluid. A timeout called by Buford, a 30-second timeout. Children's Healthcare of Atlanta Sports Medicine offers the specialized care to keep your superstar playing at the highest level. Find the location nearest you at choa.org/sportsmed. choa.org/sportsmed. Joel Hilsman, Barry Browner, Sylvester Williams here with us. The Hawks-Naismith Holiday Classic 17 on SUV TV. And our next game will be the Miller Grove Wolverines taking on the Allatoona Buccaneers in game number 4 of day 1 of the Hawks-Naismith Holiday Classic.
Jones looks like he's back on the bench.
He's upset, though. He walked to the end of the bench, still had that little bit of a limp. And you got to remember, he was fighting a stress fracture earlier this season. Young behind the back and gives it off with the right-hand dribble to Nixon. Nixon now to Watson. Watson, fading, jumper, bottom.
Marcus Watson. Tough shot, nice fade away for the youngster, Marcus Watson.
57-50. Now, if Shiloh knows anything, that this is the run to make right here. Spins it over to Spencer. Almost walked Kendall Lewis. Puts it on the floor. Now here's a drive. It's not there. Nice look. Short corner jumper. Reed. No. Rebound comes down to Marcus Watson. Watson now goes. Watson now takes it and flies it back across to Nixon. Here comes Nixon with the hesitation dribble. Nixon now looks and spins it back. Watson catch, fire, a three. Good.
and Marcus Watson, I told you, he's taking over this game at this point. Even with Jones out, and like I said, that's a big loss for Buford, but Marcus Watson just continues to just step up. Big 3-ball.
Oh, a turnover on the ground. Bobby Miller, Vidi go diving for it, gets it up. Here comes Watson. Showtime. Sit on the rim.
Marcus Watson with a chair.
That's Marcus Watson with a grown man dunk right there. Just throw it down with 2 hands.
62-60.
Hey, his name isn't Marcus Watson. His name is Lil Larry, as in Lil Larry Johnson.
A long 3, good for Nate Reed.
You know, something's missing out here. You look out on the court. Something's missing out on the court.
62-53, 2:33 to go.
You know, 2:33 to go in the game, and there's no Elias King.
And a turnover by Buford. Here comes Shamari Cloud back into the contest.
I don't know if I don't think he's in foul trouble. I mean, not with 2:25 left.
No, he don't have foul trouble. He's just standing at the end of the bench. 62-53. He's not favoring anything. So here's McLeod. McLeod feeding it in, and there's a foul. It'll be on Ashton Young. Alex Jones has moved from the end of the bench all the way up to between the coaches now.
That's that spot to sit in. You're right behind Coach. Say, Coach, I'm ready. Keep standing in. Coach, I'm ready. Coach, I'm ready.
But see, right now, Coach Martin looks up and he sees that 9-point lead, and he might just tell him to sit right there.
Right, exactly. Especially, I mean, now King comes back in. And like I said, Shiloh's got to find a bucket. And they just can't They're having a hard time scoring at this point.
Here comes Watson in transition. Watson put his
up.
head down, count it, and the foul. Marcus Watson is a man.
So you know what? I'm gonna tell you something. When you coaching or when you playing against a guy like Marcus Watson, I know the easy thing to do is to just back up, but you got to meet that head on because you can't let him pick up steam. Once he picks up steam, he got past half court. That was it.
Mm-hmm.
That was a wonderful play, but you know he should have gave that ball up. David Beatty was wide open.
Beatty set up camp down there at the block waiting on the ball.
Watson driving down the lane. Shot is up. No, Elias King ripped out his shoulder. Marcus Watson has just put it in overdrive now.
You know, he's kind of like a shark. You know, he senses that blood in the water, and he's just going on the attack right now. And that's all he's doing. He's just going on the attack.
Watson has 27 points in the contest.
And to be honest, Shiloh hasn't had an answer for Watson all night. I mean,
no,
like
especially
I said,
in that third quarter when he had 10.
I mean, he's busted the game pretty much open by himself at this point.
Yeah, and right now, and when Alex Jones went out, that possession was not good. Coach Martin called a timeout. So really, in essence, by the time Jones came back to the bench to want to check back in, they had only had 2 offensive possessions. Free throw, Watson, good. He got 28.
In for Shiloh, number 2, Truett Spencer, along with number 31, Omari Johnson.
So Amari Johnson checks in, making his first appearance. Truett Spencer also checks into the contest. Truett Spencer, Justin Spencer, younger brothers of Delanois Spencer. Free throw, no good. Watson has struggled from the line today with the free throws. And getting in is Amari Johnson to get the rebound. We're coming up on 95 seconds. Here's Turner Lane. Lane now will hand it over to Spencer. Truett kicks it into the corner. Stop, wanted to pull it, was Johnson, no. Kinlock will pull a deep 3, good.
Good shot by Kinlock.
Kinlock with his third 3 of the contest.
Oh, and they were sleeping because here's a layup by Buford.
Yeah, Ashton Yoon with the hoop. Another turnover, and we come up on a minute to go. 67-56. And now here is Donnell Nixon, and they will call a timeout. Coach Eddie Martin will call it with 59 2/10 of a second left.
So I'm gonna ask you guys. What are y'all taking away for both teams on this?
Well, what I see from Shiloh, it just seems like Shiloh can't complete a game. They can't finish out a game, and that's what kind of happened the couple of games that we saw them on. You know, they stayed close, but when it got down to crunch time, the games were just pulled away. They have a problem finishing the game, and one thing, they're going to need someone else to step up for a prolonged period of time besides King. Some of those interior post guys, when you have a team that's playing a zone like that, somebody has to hit that little inside jumper.
Stat Row showcases youth sport highlights and gives a portion of its revenue back to teams. Visit statrow.com today to learn how your team can partner with Stat Row. Kenneth S. Nugent, PC, attorneys at law. One call, that's all. Visit attorneykennugent.com. I'd like to thank all of our sponsors here for the Hawks-Naismith Holiday Classic 17, the inaugural year. Joel Hilsman, Barry Browner, Sylvester Williams. What I've taken away from is exactly what Sly's taken away. They looked better. They've looked improved vastly. They look the same in this fourth quarter. They regressed, but they have improved. Alex Jones back in the game. He's still limping, though.
So at this point, where do you see them when it comes to region play with Archer, South Gwinnett, Newton, Grayson?
I mean, the talent is there. That they're a playoff team. Listen, they got to beat Rockdale. They got to beat South Gwinnett.
But they've already dropped one to Archer now.
And they still going to have to split them. I mean, you got to put yourself in position to get into the semifinals in the region tournament. That's what you're going to have to do. And in that case, that means winning that game because the 1 and 2s, I think, if the region does it that way, the 1 and 2s will get the bye. So you're going to have to play in one of them games to win your way in.
You know what? What I take away is, like you guys said, I think the Shiloh team They got some work to do. They can be a team. They're going to be a tough out come region tournament time, but I'm not sure after that. What I take from Buford is good. This Marcus Watson is real good.
Yeah, Marcus Watson is the deal, man. There's a drive, layup good by Justin Spencer, his first field goal. Watson, listen, this is my, let me see, I'm just saying myself personally. 1,
Shiloh fouls on number 31,
2,
Alari Johnson.
3. This is my third Buford game this year. Yeah, my third Buford game this year. He's gone for 26 plus in all of them. And I had him 6 times last year, and he went for 25 plus.
So that cements that he's the real deal.
He's consistent. Nothing else to say.
Here's the one thing about that young man, though. Like you said, he's had 26 and at least in all of these games, and he's not a good free throw shooter. If he can develop his free throw shooting, this kid will be the truth.
He would have had an easy 30 if he would have hit at least two more free throws.
Easy if he hits free throws. If he hits free throws, there's nobody in the state can stop him.
2 of 5 from the line today. There's a drive by Truett Spencer. 69-60. Well, Shiloh fought back and actually led the ball game briefly, 31-30. And then it was 53-46, a 7-point game headed into the fourth, but Buford has remained to put that distance in there. A 14-point quarter right now for Shiloh. Their best quarter was that second quarter where they outscored Buford 17-9. And there goes Marcus Watson to take a seat, so I can go ahead and tally him up.
Big night for Watson, though. I can tell you, close to 30, or he might have had 30.
29.
10.
29. Here's the thing. He had 29, but he had 20 in the second half.
And then you got to look at the rebounds. I don't have my rebound stats in front of me, but you know he has double digits on the board.
I would have to imagine, yeah, pretty close. Donnell Nixon strokes them in. Nixon's got 14. Shot is knocked away. 71-60. Ball out of bounds. And will stay with the – oh, no, it'll go over to Buford. David Veedy, he's going to have 12 points today. Man, did he shoot the 3-ball.
Shot the 3-ball well, and like I said, this is a lesson if you're playing Buford. Don't leave. You got to, hand down, man down with David Veedy.
That's right. That is right.
What'd you say, V-I-T-I?
I'm telling you, if you know how to spell it, you better be able to guard it. And the Buford Wolves improved to 6-2 on the season with a 71-60 victory over a Shiloh team that looked improved, but they now fall to a 3-6 record. Marcus Watson, 29 points in the contest. David Veedy finishes with 12. Ashton Yoon finishes with 6. Donnell Nixon finishes with 14. Alex Jones finishes with 6 points. For the Shiloh Generals, Elias King, it really was quiet, guys. He only finished with 15 points in the contest. And Tenary Lane had 10. While Eric Kinlock, and he played very good out of the guard spot, he had 11 for the Shiloh Generals. Once again, the final score, 71-60. It is Buford over Shiloh here in the inaugural Hawks-Naismith Holiday Classic 17. Our final game of the night will be coming up at 8 p.m. Eastern right here across the network. It'll be Allatoona and Miller Grove. Join us at about 15 minutes toward the hour. Sly, Ned, and my main man, Hoop Kids, is in town, David Dickerson, for SUV TV Game Day Live, presented by CBA Sports. We'll see you for the finale in just a few moments.